Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 427, live from Los Angeles, right alongside same room. Good to see you, buddy.
See you.
As Damonza, we are... So, apologies for no show on Thursday. I thought we were going to do a show. We were down at the Daytona 500. The tech setup that I thought I would be able to pull off in my hotel room, it was just not tenable. It would have been a bad episode, so I apologize for not giving you guys a heads up. To make up for that, we have a bunch of cool stuff coming the rest of this week. Tomorrow on this channel, if you're a poker fan, a gambling fan, or just got nothing better to do, or just want to root for me, maybe root against me, that would be kind of crummy, we will be live streaming the card game I'm playing in Vegas with the great Antonio Esfandiari, some other pros, some other business people. No Gamble, No Future will be this tomorrow afternoon, live on this channel, free, of course, for anyone to watch. Whole cards, the whole thing. Watch me play in what we'll see what it ends up being, but one of the biggest, if not the biggest card game I've ever played in. I don't know exactly how big the game's going to play. So that'll be tomorrow. Thursday, we are doing a mailbag episode. That, full disclosure, we actually recorded about an hour ago, so you will see me in this exact same outfit. This is one of the reasons today's episode was delayed, and then next week we'll be back to our regular schedule, and then soon we will get back to the 3 episodes a week right after football, travel, stuff going on. Also, probably not quite enough content for 3 full episodes, but we'll get back to that as well. But let's get right to it because there is a ton to get to since we last talked. We will start, though, with Straight to Voicemail, brought to you by Boost Mobile. Dame wins the 3-point contest, and then also, which was awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
And then shared a text or something on IG where I think it was Steph saying he committed to next year that they thought 4 of the 8 should be Dame, Booker, Steph, and Clay.
Yeah.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
That would be great. Everyone would like that. LeBron non-committal on year 24. I just put me down being on the record. I would be stunned if this is LeBron's last year. And Michael Jordan wins his 7th ring. He wins the Daytona. His team won the Daytona 500. Shout out to MJ. And listen, fair is fair. I said a tiny, tiny, tiny part of the GOAT conversation was his horrifying Charlotte Hornets ownership. And so a tiny part of his NASCAR GOAT conversation.
It's got to go in there too.
Goes there, but NASCAR. Like a NASCAR GOAT. Like it doesn't apply to his basketball GOATs. That's a different sport entirely. All right, Damonza, let's reminder everybody, like, rate, subscribe, review. That way you'll know when we go live, when we're, especially because our schedule's been a little weird. Now is the time to do it. Let's get to the All-Star game.
All right, so after years of uncompetitiveness, maybe since Kobe played, the NBA might have found a solution to the All-Star game with the U.S. versus World format.
Yeah.
What did you think of the new All-Star game?
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. And I think the perfect storm of just enough public criticism that the players heard and were aware of. Wemby gets credit, throwing down the gauntlet and being like, I'm going to try.
Yep.
So you guys better try too. I credit to Wemby for that. Ant gave him credit. The other players responding. Cool teams in that it wasn't just U.S. versus the world.
Concepts.
But also the U.S. team felt like old guys, young guys.
Yeah.
So all 3 teams had the different kind of pride to play for. The fact that it was just 12-minute games meant you were kind of instantly getting the intensity of a fourth quarter, which even when the All-Star game's been bad, if it's been close late, guys lock
Ramp it up at the end.
And so that was there the whole time. So all of it really worked. And here is what I will say. Sorry, Daniel, our resident Nuggets fan. Where I think some of the criticism of the older generation of players about letting the All-Star game down has been unfair. everyone just flatly accepts with no criticism whatsoever that even in this format, the one guy who couldn't be bothered to give a shit was the best player in the world. Yeah. And I like Joker. I am not, and it seems like everybody likes Joker. I understand I might be the wrong messenger of this because of my years back history of skepticism, but it is an unequivocal double standard when the previous universally accepted best player in the world, LeBron James, is currently getting more criticism for not doing the dunk contest 15 years ago than Joker is for not caring in the All-Star game that everyone else cared in 50 hours ago. Like that's not, and so it does feel like there is a pass given to Joker and to a lesser extent Luka, because Luka, I guess you can say, is still coming off the injury. And Joker, I know, was hurt, but he's been playing and kicking ass.
Exactly.
And he's just never cared at the All-Star game. And right or wrong, no one has criticized him the way we've criticized the legendary American guys for not caring. And Joker does have something of responsibility of, you're the best player in the world. And so despite him not caring, the games were awesome. They were great. And I don't know how how sustainable this specific format is, but I am okay. I didn't understand exactly how it was going to work, and I was critical of it leading into it. But once the game started, it was good.
It worked out very well.
It worked out really well, and it was fun. Now, let me say this real quick before we get to the other stuff, because it's kind of silly for me, first time talking to you guys since my appearance on Bill Simmons' pod, to not acknowledge my shockingly, and I mean it, shockingly viral take of, hey, a few years from now, what if we did
defender?
white guys versus black guys? So I am aware that took on a life of its own. My feelings on my own take have evolved.
Okay.
For reasons that I will explain later in the show when we bring back really a classic old What's Right segment, Nick Wright, Public Defender. So I am not running from that. I also don't want to do it right here. We will do it later, and we will discuss that there. Let's get to some of the All-Star follow-up stuff.
Did you feel like this was a passing of the torch moment for the stars, young stars in the
Well,
stretch?
I mean, it didn't in real time. It didn't feel like that because it felt like Kawhi, who is not, who is not as old as Bron, Steph, KD, but he is closer to their age than the young guys. Kawhi was the star,
right?
And then because the old guys' team didn't win, he couldn't be MVP, but he had 31 points in a
honestly, Kawhi doing all that makes Nikola Jokic look even worse. I know Kawhi, he's never been the type to not care about basketball, but I don't know, him taking it seriously and going crazy.
Took it seriously. Now, it also was in his arena. You know what I mean? So Kawhi's 31-point quarter is pretty unbelievable. And unlike some of the All-Star games in the last decade, like when AD had 50 or the other when Steph shot 28 threes or something, these were contested. These were difficult shots. These were with the other team trying to stop him. I can't remember if that was against Team World or against the other U.S. team, but whoever it was, I think it was Team World. They were trying to win the game, and that was a close game down the stretch late, and Kawhi was just sensational. All right, next.
What tweaks would you make to the U.S. versus World format?
I think they're, and I don't know if I can call this unintentional or happy accident or something, that they didn't announce that the two U.S. teams were going to have distinct feels to them. like the old guys,
yeah,
young guys, but that's definitely what it should be. Like if you're going to have these 3 different 8-person teams, then there should be something delineating
the continuation of the other team.
Right, delineating the 2 American teams. So you're not always going to be able to go old, young. I don't know, like, so maybe you do East, West sometime. Maybe, I'm not sure, but I like there being a theme, if you will, of the two different U.S. teams. Oh. And so listen, the NBA needed a good weekend. The pod that I did last week with Bill really did, and this is credit to Bill, not me, set the tone for a week of heavy NBA criticism about tanking and about the major issues facing the league. And so to have a win and to have it highly rated and to have people care and to have the games be good and was a needed victory for a league that has, by its own doing, taken some PR hits
and about to lose a bunch of their guys in a couple of years.
Well, that's the other piece. Like that does the biggest stars, and that is the other big problem for the league that they don't right now have a solve to, and they're hoping Wemby will solve it. But right now, the single most famous basketball player under the age of 35 years old is Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark
is the most. She is.
Famous?
I think you disagree with me.
I honestly thought it would have been Wemby.
I don't think. So I don't think your sisters know Wemby, and and if they do, they're like, oh, is he the really tall guy?
Right.
They have an opinion on Caitlin Clark.
100%.
Maybe Wemby is close, but I think that the three most famous basketball players right now are 41-year-old LeBron James, and then 37, 38-year-old Steph and KD. And so that is like Anthony Edwards, Luka, Jokic, Giannis. Those guys have not ascended to that level, and so, but that's a issue for the NBA for another day. Today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Hard Rock Bet, Florida's sportsbook. I know it can be tough without football, but like the song says, I bet you didn't know this, I bet I will survive. With Hard Rock Bet, there's always something to bet on every night. Hoops, hockey, so much more. Plus, all the great same-game parlays, live betting, and player prop options you're used to. And did you know Hard Rock Bet is the official sports betting partner of the Miami Heat and the Orlando Magic? So obviously they know hoops. If you haven't signed up with Hard Rock Bet yet, there's never been a better time. New signups can double their winnings on their first 10 bets, max of $50. That's right. If you would have won $100 on your bet, make that $200. Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in Florida. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan. Coming soon to more states as well. Plus, Hard Rock Bet offers new promos daily, so whenever you're listening, just open the app and check out what they've got any day of the week. Download the Hard Rock Bet app and make your first deposit. All right, Damonza, let's go to little NFL.
Yesterday, the Dolphins released Tyreek Hill. If you remember, they traded 5 picks for him a few years ago. Somebody predicted what his next move may be if this were to happen.
Yes.
Let's take a listen.
It's a year ago. I believe Tyreek Hill is going to play another football game for the Kansas City Chiefs. That I'm very excited for Tyreek Hill wearing a Chiefs uniform in 2026. Maybe that's enough to get Kelce to come back for one more year. A little final Tyreek and Kelce right off in the sunset together. Yeah, I think that's absolutely on the board. I'm a little less excited now than I was then.
Understandably so.
So here, listen. Since those comments, Tyreek has had more really ugly off the field allegations. I can't, but they feel like heavier than allegations, lighter than, out and out convictions. But there is a lot of reason to believe that he continues to be a bad actor off the field. A lot of reason to believe that. So that's the human element. The football element, which is not as important but should be acknowledged, a normal football player is, he suffered a catastrophic knee injury, and there is a lot of reason to believe he will not be close to the same guy.
Especially Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Guy that relies on his speed like that.
It's speed, his ability, his acceleration, just his raw, naked athleticism. With all that said, I would imagine, and I do think he wants to come back, and I would imagine the Chiefs would take him back at a very, very discounted rate. Even if it's just for a year, for him to, see if he can be the rare wide receiver that in his 30s, after a bad injury, can, still cash in again.
85%.
But it is not as exciting of a proposition for any reason as it once was. And it is the Chiefs do need to be careful on. I'm not naive. It's pro football. You're not going to have a team full of Walter Payton Man of the Year winners. I get that. But that wide receiver room can get a little hairy on you quick. And I feel like I am a big, what I've said before, and I have to be consistent on it, is for anybody in almost any setting, I will give you just in my, again, let me back up a little bit quickly. In order, there's the standard to have your liberty taken away from you and to be imprisoned. And that is beyond a reasonable doubt. And, that is the bedrock of our jurisprudence system, all of that. That is not the standard for, if people believe you did or didn't do something. You know what I mean? What gun to your head, do you think he did it or not?
Yeah.
That is not beyond a reasonable doubt. That is just what you think. So I am, at this moment, I am not talking about guys going to jail. I'm talking about what I think of, the people. And my general standard is, and people might say, it doesn't have to be your standard, it's mine. If you are accused of almost anything once, I will tend to be like, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But the moment you get accused a second time, I tend to believe you've done it. Yeah. And I think that's reasonable.
Yeah.
I think that is, I know that is not, it is not a hard and fast every single time rule,
right.
But it is, my general feeling is, I will believe in your, I don't even know if it's believe in your innocence. I won't assume you did what you're accused of if it's a one-off accusation. But the moment it becomes multiple, particularly, and this is the key point for some guys, if it's multiple from different parties,
right,
then I have a very hard time. I'm like, no, you probably did that.
Conspiring.
Right. And again, some guys are victims of massive conspiracies. I'm not saying in that. So just to be clear, this is not the standard for someone to go to jail. This is the standard for in Nick Wright's brain. Do I
trust him or do I?
And so I just think, I think that's a tricky spot for the Chiefs because I don't think the Chiefs don't have a lot of guys on the team who've been accused of bad stuff. But the guys who have been play the same position.
Yeah.
And it's the position that Tyreek plays. And that's a tricky spot.
Would you say Tyreek Hill was less out of the limelight when he was on the Chiefs? I would say be it more.
Well, he had gotten in a lot of trouble in college. which is why he was a 5th-round pick. It's why, and what he got in trouble for in college was ugly stuff. And so he did seem to, for the most part, seemed like he was on, his best behavior. He was trying to get paid. He was playing great. He did, though, as a Chief relatively early, once he became a superstar, have a really, really awful allegation that seemed to be disproven by audio. And so that, again, maybe goes against, the thing I was saying. But now there's just a lot of stuff that makes you feel like as a teammate.
I was just about to say, it's not even the off the field stuff, even on the field.
Bad to Tua.
Right.
And so it's, there can be a lot of moral bargaining you do with yourself when it comes to rooting for pro football teams.
Yeah.
And all I've ever said is I owe the audience honesty, and people can judge me for it. It's fine. This is the bargaining that I'm doing in my own head as far as what I think is going to happen there. All right. Hold on. I think let's do the Chiefs odds question real quick.
The Chiefs are currently plus 1,500 to win the Super Bowl. They're tied for 7th. How do you think their odds would change if they got Tyreek?
I don't think it would change at all. I think what will change the Chiefs odds and what will make them the 4th favorites, it will be Seattle, the Rams, Buffalo will be the top 3. And the Chiefs would jump to number 4, would be the report that Patrick Mahomes is going to play week 1. Right now, the Chiefs' odds are a hedge as far as the Chiefs' odds are where they should be if Mahomes is going to have his first start of the year in week 4. He's going to miss the first 3 games.
Right.
If he's going to play week 1, they should be better. If he's going to miss the first 6 weeks, they should be worse.
Right.
And so right now it's kind of a hedge for that. But the Tyreek would not significantly change that at all. All right, next.
The Dolphins cut a handful of players. Do you think Tua is next? I think with Tyreek Hill being cut, that Tua is probably not going to be cut.
Tua's contract is so tricky.
Okay.
And it's the problem for them is keeping him more guarantees vest for future guarantees. He has no trade value because of the contract. But if you cut him, they haven't. Whether you split it over 2 years or 1, it's $98 million dead money. It's a catastrophe. And so maybe what they'd have to do is trade. If they trade him, it's only $45 million in dead money. Maybe you could trade him and a draft pick to get someone to take on the deal.
Yeah.
It's a very, very tricky spot. But I don't think he's going to be this for one way or another. I don't think he's going to be the starter for the Miami Dolphins next year. I don't think they can let more guaranteed money vest in his deal. All right, before we move on, let me tell you guys about my friends at Mars Men. Most men start losing testosterone at around age 30, about 1% every year after that. Same workout, same diet, but it can feel like you're moving through mud. And when the new year hits, it's a great time for a reset so you can feel energized again and not worn down. So keep it simple and do something natural that supports your body with Mars Men. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. Mars Men supports healthy T levels, energy, and stamina with its 8 natural clinically dosed ingredients, including vitamin D, zinc, boron, and more. 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, you don't absolutely love it, you get your money back, but over 91% of users report higher energy levels. Thousands of guys are feeling incredible results. Just check out the reviews on the website to see for yourself. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 gifts at mengotomars.com. It's a perfect way to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. After your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. It will help our show if you tell them we are the ones that sent you. And again, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. Perfect way to kick off the new year strong. mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. All right, Damonza, let's do some NBA storylines here.
NFL is over. Post and All-Star break is over. What are the top 5 storylines in the NBA that you're looking at?
Number one is, to me, is Jason Tatum's comeback.
Yes.
It seems like he is coming back.
Yep.
And there is I don't want to read too much into some of the Jaylen Brown stuff. I don't want to read too little into the Jaylen Brown stuff. Jaylen Brown tweeted the side-by-side of their record at the All-Star break last year, and then this year he was on Instagram. He was then asked about it. He was like, I just want to, I was just trying to promote our guys. I think that's true. I also think there's always been a weird.
Yeah.
It obviously works. They won a
do a
championship.
good job, 100%.
And they're great players. But it doesn't feel like there is ever been a there has been a defined pecking order. I don't know if there's been a fully accepted pecking order. And now, when Tatum comes back, in the short term, Brown will be better. Like, right. Tatum is going to take some time to ramp up, take some real time to get back to his old self, and the team's playing really well. So that is a tricky spot. Just real quick. But the Celtics, as presently constituted, have no chance of winning the championship.
Oh, yeah, champion. Okay.
No chance of winning the championship. If Tatum can ramp up even to 80% of himself.
That's the exact number I was thinking.
By the playoffs,
right.
Then they're a real threat. So you've got to if he wants to come back, you've got to bring him back. But that's the number one storyline I'm watching for the league the rest of the year is the Tatum comeback. Did you want to say something more on that?
No, it was just because I was saying what percentage do you think he'd need to be at to take over the East? But 80%.
80, yeah, I mean the
East.
I think if he didn't come back, the Celtics would have a chance. They would not be my pick. They're not my second pick. They would have a chance of winning the East.
100%.
But they would have no chance of winning the championship.
Right.
I guess barring some weird catastrophe on the team that wins the West, like in their best guy goes down in the conference final, something like that. But with Tatum, you would have a real shot. All right, so that's storyline number one. Storyline number two is, did the Thunder get bored, or did those losses to the Spurs make them not ruin them, but vulnerable?
Right.
And are they going to be the first team to defend their championship since the Steph KD Warriors, and the first team to come close to defending their championship since Steph KD Warriors, or are they going to follow the trend of this decade of defending champion early in the year? It's defending its championship. Looks like they are obviously the best team, only to not even come close to defending their title. Yeah. So that's storyline number two, is the defending champion. Storyline number three for me is Wemby and the Spurs, and how high can this thing go this quickly?
Yeah.
Right? That seems like for you, it's very high on your list.
I like Wemby a lot. He's a crazy little player, but yeah, no, I'd say it's up there.
He's 22. He's in year 3.
It's just a freaking age.
And we've never seen him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, it's not his fault. Like, but so seeing him in the playoffs, seeing this Spurs team that is ahead of schedule, how high can they win the championship? They can.
James Harden postseason.
Oh, that's interesting.
They make it on the Cavs.
So that to me is not a top 5 storyline, just because I just know how that's going. That story's going to end. Number 4 is Joker and this Nuggets team can
they operate as if they have the best player in the world on the team.
Yes,
take it somewhere
go. They can win the championship, and if they do, we're going to talk in Thursday's mailbag episode of where Joker is historically. They win the championship, and all of a sudden, he's sitting in the room with Wilt Chamberlain and Larry Bird, and
then the amount of guys that have multiple chips in the league right now are very little.
Oh, that's a great point. Well,
I guess like you have all of the Warriors that are still playing.
Right, but if you guys,
you really narrowed it
guys
down.
Jokic's age or younger,
right,
that have multiple rings, it would just be him. Like, again, if we're not talking about role players, like
exactly, the big guys, right?
Yeah, because Bron's got 4. He's obviously super old. KD's got 2. He's way older. Steph, Clay, Draymond have 4. They're older. That's the kind of the fallout of teams not repeating. And then number 5 storyline is, I'll just do one negative one, I guess. And I don't want to belabor this point. But what is the NBA going to do about the tanking and what reforms are going to be put in place?
Yeah.
Because you've got a quarter of the league wanting to lose, and that's not tenable. Just not tenable.
So Colin made a point yesterday. So if the teams are bad, they're just bad. And it's like, how do we retool?
Yeah. Yes, I understand that, but you cannot create a situation where the smart thing for teams to do is to sit their best players and lose games.
Yeah, it's bad for the league.
That's just not a viable business model.
Right.
The fact that everyone agrees it would be dumb for Milwaukee to play Giannis again this year is bad for the league. You know what I mean? The fact that the Jazz traded for Jaren Jackson Jr. and before he ended up having the surgery, everyone was like, I like that trade, but they probably don't want to win this year. So what is that? Like Anthony Davis and Trae Young get traded to the Wizards, and everyone's like, that's good for them next year, but this year they don't want to win. Those things. That's
always the narrative.
That's not good.
Yeah.
That's just not good, and it is the job of the commissioner to figure out how to realign those incentives. Just flatly. Hey guys, Boost Mobile is proving you don't have to overpay for great wireless. Unlock their savings with $25 a month forever unlimited plan. It's a permanent price with no contracts and no price hikes. You can keep your phone and your number, but you save up to $600 a year compared to the major carriers. Stop overpaying and switch to a fair price at boostmobile.com today. Based on average annual single-line payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months on the Boost Mobile Unlimited plan as of January 2026. For a full offer details, visit boostmobile.com. All right, next.
So this next segment is going to be called Nick's Fix. We're going to present to you some problems around the NBA, and you present a fix for it. Do you want to skip this first one?
No, go ahead. We can do it all.
So tanking was the big talk All-Star weekend. It seems like Adam Silver wants to make a change as well. How would you go about fixing this?
I think listen, this is something a lot of people spend a lot of time on, so I don't want to spend a ton of time on it. But to me, there are 2 simple, and they are different, but simple solutions that I think Adam Silver could just do by edict. Number 1 is, if the commissioner believes you are not doing everything you can to win games, he has in his authority you give him one warning. You now pick last in the draft. Utah, your pick is now 30 if you do that shit in the fourth quarter again.
Yeah.
Like that, and we will give you one warning. Now, that does not mean you are allowed to, before the season, trade away your best players. You can build a team that you're like,
we're tanking.
Right,
with this team.
Right,
everybody's going to play regular.
Everybody, our season ticket holders know who's on the roster, and we are going to try to win games.
Yep.
Even if we realistically can't win a lot, because we're a young, I mean, you don't have to all of a sudden go sign big free agents that aren't going to help you win a championship. But once your roster is set, and you can also trade away your best, you can do those things, but you have to do everything in your power to win games and play your players when they're healthy. That's one solution. The other one is simply this. The 10 teams that are not in the play-in or the playoffs, the 10 non-playoff teams, they all have the exact same lottery odds. They are all at 10%. And if we believe you at the end of the year are tanking out of the play-in, like you could be a play-in team and you're tanking out of it to get one of those 10% chances, we will have no mercy on the penalty we will levy against you. And so like those things to me,
rattle the cages.
There's more convoluted ways, but I think those are two pretty easy to digest fixes. All right, next.
LeBron is out of the race for any postseason awards, but I mean it's not as big for him as other guys.
Yes.
Like Jokic, Steph, and Wemby are all getting close to being out too. As somebody who cares about the history of the all NBA teams, would you make any changes to the 65 game rule, or do you think it's fair?
So I will just give Simmons credit on this. Simmons said it should have been 65 games or 2,000 minutes, and I think that's super smart. Yeah. I think that is a great fix for it. 2,000 minutes would be, nobody plays 40 minutes a game anymore, but 50 games at 40 minutes a game, or 60 games. If you played 60 games and you played 34 minutes a game, then you'd be at least eligible. And that to me is...
Yeah, Jokic wouldn't be in the, he'd be in the clear.
And I also think that you maybe should have, at the commissioner's discretion, the ability to waive it for single injury instances. So let's say Joker, who ends up, he missed a month with one injury.
Right.
If a guy misses, you can only miss 17 games. If a guy misses 16 games for one injury and plays in 62 of the other 66, I think the commissioner should be able to say at the end of the year, he's eligible.
Yeah.
The idea was to prevent load management, resting guys, all this stuff. The idea was not to penalize great players who sprain a knee.
Exactly.
And I do care about, it doesn't actually impact the MVP stuff as much as people think, because it's very, very, very rare.
Somebody's in contention for MVP that's in that situation.
Exactly right. But you have to go back to like Bill Walton to find an MVP that played under 60 games. Usually guys just get eliminated from being the MVP of the league if they didn't play enough by default.
Right.
But it matters a lot for all NBA. It matters a lot for some of the other stuff. Go ahead and ask follow-up here.
SGA is out with injury. If it lingers and both he and Jokic are out of the MVP race, who would you pick for MVP?
I mean, I think
Jaylen Brown.
I think Jaylen Brown's got a real shot.
Yeah.
I think Cade would have a shot. I don't think it's going to be Luka. I think Jaylen Brown would have a real shot at it.
Yeah. I mean, who?
I think SGA.
Who's beating him? Who's beating Jaylen Brown right now?
Well, so Jokic and SGA are the obvious ones.
With those two,
but if those two guys are out,
right?
I mean, Luka would have a shot, and Cade would have a shot. But I think Jaylen Brown is. I mean, the Celtics have been excellent, and he's been great. He's just been great. All right, next.
The dunk contest. It was a disaster again. How could we figure out a way to change the dunk contest? Fix that.
I don't have a way to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't have a way to fix it. And I think we reached the pinnacle of what I just don't think there are
Oh, how many more dunks are there? Right?
That's what I mean. I think human beings have not evolved fast enough to outpace how many of the dunks have been used up.
Yeah.
Like the only frontier
You can only
left
jump
is
so high,
right,
man.
and the only frontier left is a front flip dunk. And I think we are decades from a person being able to do it. So I don't have a fix there. All right, let's do Nick Wright, public defender.
So it's been a while. We haven't done this. I don't know if we've done this since I've been out in LA.
Yeah.
But we're gonna bring back public defender. I do not have the wig.
Yeah, I know.
So first off, we're gonna start off with KD. Starting off with a man who once called you Nicky.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Kevin Durant had 12 points and 12 hours of screen time on his phone after getting caught for having another burner. Counselor, defend your client, Kevin Durant.
So before I jump into character, again, for people who are new to this is me doing the job of a public defender, which is defending my client, whether or not I believe he is guilty or not. And just sidebar on this, real opinion, before I get into public defender. This is so much bigger for KD than the previous burner account stuff.
Yeah.
And it's because of, if it's real, the shit talking on Şengün and his current team is catastrophic.
Yeah. And it's just really like you're supposed to be like a vet,
You're
like a veteran presence.
Veteran presence,
like,
a leader, the final piece. If this is real, it legitimately damages his team's chance of winning the championship, which is a shame. Okay, so like that's my real opinion. Now, Kevin Durant, public defender. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it wasn't him. What's your evidence it was? Honestly, follow the tweets. What is the sourcing any of these allegations really have? What? That he once tweeted an eagle and this guy has the eagle headline? That somebody once said, when are you going to be back? And it was around the same time my client was dealing with an injury. Who credible has said, I'm in the group chat, I'm on the record, I know Kevin Durant, that's him? The answer is nobody. It is a lot of smoke. None of it was him. With that said, he did come up with calling Russell Westbrook triple-double cocaine bear. That was him. The rest of it was not him. I rest my case. That's my public
defense. Out of all guys, man, Russ, come on, man.
Triple-double cocaine bear is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It just flatly was. Go ahead.
2 weeks after shoving Washington's beloved mascot, Gee Whiz, Jaxson Hayes disappointed big time with a very pedestrian dunk. Counselor, defend your client, Jaxson Hayes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I would love to tell you that the fact that the prosecution brought up my client's incident with Gee Whiz, should be stricken from the record and it does not apply here. But I'm in fact glad they brought it up, because that was the cause of this entire debacle. My client, who a few weeks back famously was just trying to playfully mess around with a mascot and found himself suspended and potentially being sued for an honest mistake, while he was approaching what should have been his free throw line dunk, out of the corner of his eye, saw another mascot, and was so worried that the momentum from a free throw line dunk could lead to another Gee Whiz style mishap, he pulled up lame. Honestly, sacrificing his own pride and reputation for the safety of an unnamed furry friend. And therefore, I simply, to the mercy of the court, I would only ask that his actions in the dunk contest be remembered when you guys a different jury is deciding how guilty he was for the unfortunate Gee Whiz incident. I rest my case.
Last week, your client went on Bill Simmons' podcast and pitched a radical fix to the All-Star game. Defend your client, Nick Wright's quintuple-based All-Star solution.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the obvious defense is once the NBA itself opens the door to the All-Star game, teams are going to be determined by nation of birth. It is not a radical change to say, are there other demographic indicators that we could use to determine the team you're on? Be no different than saying we are going to have a 6'5" and under and 6'5" and over.
Yep.
We are going to have left-handed, right-handed.
Yep.
We are going to have white, black. There's a long list of things that once the league itself determines, we are not basing this on NBA conference affiliation, but instead inherent demographic traits. They have opened the metaphorical Pandora's box. With that said, my client would like to say something in his own defense. So now I'm me. When I mentioned white guys versus black guys on the Bill Simmons podcast as an all-star take, it was tongue-in-cheek with a hint of honesty as far as we might be approaching a place in a few years where for the first time in nearly 50 years, if not longer, that would be a competitive game. So it was a little funny, a tiny bit serious. It was all of it. However, I had an incident outside of an In-N-Out burger 2 days ago that made me rethink my position. And that incident was as I was leaving In-N-Out burger, a young man who I don't know, but I am just certain I would hate, positive of it. I had a 3-second interaction with him, and I'm like, I don't like you. I don't like what you represent. I don't like who you are. I can tell I don't like your old tweets. I can tell I don't like you. Some frat bro, about 20 years younger than me, ran up to me as I was leaving the In-N-Out burger and said, bro, the white-black all-star game, greatest fucking idea I ever heard.
That'll do it.
And I was like, you know what? I don't like my take anymore. So while I appreciate my lawyer's defense of me, I don't deserve it. Folks that came out and said, we are not currently in the correct racial or political climate for that game to be appropriate. While at first I thought everyone was being a little too dramatic, that moron that ran up on me and loved it so much made me decide I don't like the idea anymore. Based purely on my gut instinct on anything that gets that person that excited, I want to be on the opposite side of. So I plead guilty. And that is today's What's Right. See you guys on Thursday.